This is the real cost of weight mode. My name's Penny Kennedy. I'm an ADHD coach and wife and mother to my ADHD family. Together, we've embarked on our dream to create an ADHD retreat in the heart of the countryside in Britain's original area of outstanding natural beauty, Gower, South Wales. Last time, we talked about how we got this incredible opportunity and how creating a place where people with ADHD can relax, reset and find acceptance realises so many of our aspirations. In this video, we take a look at something my family is having to cope with in the run-up to our new chapter, weight mode. So, you might be thinking, what is weight mode? I'm going to give you a brief explanation. It's an ADHD specific challenge when a planned thing, such as a doctor's appointment, a meeting, maybe an exciting event, and even a parcel delivery, literally hijacks the attention. And trying to think about anything else creates anxiety. It can be a few hours before the thing, it can be for weeks, even months. The result can show up in a couple of ways. Paralysis, a kind of paralysis where the person can literally do nothing, or it can be a kind of intense activity in relation to the thing, maybe preparing for the thing, doing things that aren't even necessary and sometimes actually costly because it relieves the anxiety. My family right now are experiencing a tsunami of weight mode. We've been waiting for months to move onto the land. So, last March, this dream of ours became really possible. We had a buyer for our house. The solicitors were doing whatever solicitors do. It was all moving forward. So what we got there is we've got a definite, big, exciting, planned thing. But it was quite complicated because when you buy a house in the UK, nothing's actually legally binding till you exchange contracts, but also because of the land, it was slightly more difficult. Not problematic, but it was going to take longer.
Just more details, like you've got to draw maps and kind of get people in to do surveys and stuff. Just more to do.
But this is when I start to notice, I don't know, Dusty starts talking about diggers a lot.
I mean, like, who doesn't like a digger?
Tractors, ride on lawnmowers.
I've decided against
toppers.
that.
My Adam, my son, starts talking a lot about vegetables, and I know weight mode is kicking in. I can see it starting. And then the research. The research phase.
I've got to admit, I did spend quite a lot of time watching YouTube. But, you know, it's legitimate research. We're going to do a great big new thing.
Yeah, that's true.
That's my story.
And then the first thing we decide that's going to happen really once we move is that we're going to rebuild a sauna there or make a sauna there. And that's when things really got going.
Well, you see, the sauna, that's something that we use like 2-3 times a week for ourselves, but it's also something that'd be amazing to have for people coming to the retreat. So I thought that's a definite. And weight mode doesn't do it justice for me. It's bloody agony. It's just your whole body. It's a physical thing. My whole body is just poised for action. I don't know. It's like when I used to do a lot of marathons and races and things. It's like the feeling of being on the start line, but this time I just had no idea when the starting pistol was going to be fired at what point. So I started to... So
well before the starting pistol was fired, you were off.
I was, definitely. I'm not going about here. But I suppose I rationalised it as training.
Oh, yes.
So the sauna is something I did, I've got to say, I did focus on in my weight mode quite considerably.
So if I can just explain how you focused on the sauna. So starts buying the materials, despite the fact that we don't live on the land. And then starts building it in the garden.
And again, the process of doing that, it's weird because it's half really enjoyable and half really interesting and half absolute agony, because there's a rational part of my brain that knows this is really premature and actually you should be doing other stuff like, washing, brushing your teeth.
Your job.
Things like that. So I was sat there and I had the spreadsheet from hell with all these different suppliers and the different options. I drew out plans of all these different construction options. I had to sit down and, because I've decided it was going to have a turf roof, and I've never built a turf roof before. Back when I was working as a contractor, it was just standard timber, battens, slate, but turf roof, much heavier. So I'm there poring over strength tables. The only strength table I could find for the timber I'm buying is American in inches, pounds per square inch. And then the only strength tables I could find for the British timber is metric. So I'm converting imperial to metric, metric to imperial. And yeah.
And I'm listening to this conversation. This is our only topic of conversation.
Oh, God. And then
Adam is talking about vegetables and seeds, and he starts buying seeds. He starts planting seedlings. The kitchen then, every windowsill in the house is covered in little pots with seedlings in, and that was his way of managing his weight mode.
Yeah. So then back in sauna land, thousands of pounds worth of locally sourced Welsh milled timber turns up, and we have to put it where we're moving. I mean, God bless them, they didn't mind us stacking it out in their front yard. Yeah. So that turns up, huge pile of timber, and then I bring some of it back home, and then I realise all the tools I used to use when I was building, a lot of them are not shamefully rusty. So I'm there getting the rust off, sharpening them, grinding them, just because I've got to start building this thing, and then we can start to sort of cut the timber, and my workshop is full of the cedar that we've bought. I've got less space in there, so I'm out in the yard with all this timber, and thankfully, but I drew Ava into my obsession as well, and she was there helping me.
He is now making it in the house we live in currently, not where we're moving to.
Yeah.
He's making it in our garden, and then we'll have to take it with.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that might sound like, wow, that's a lot. But then we have a conversation about the retreat and what we might have on the retreat, and we talk about perhaps having foraging walks and being able to forage food and cook together with the food that we foraged, and being able to have a cob house on the retreat with an earthen roof in the orchard, and that triggers a whole new level of weight mode. Yeah, a whole new level. So the first thing that happens is that, first of all, Dusty then books us all onto a sustainability fair.
Sustainable building
fair for us all to go to learn about how to build cob houses.
Whether you want to or not.
And then he realises he needs a lot of rocks to do the foundations.
So it doesn't all just melt away.
Yeah.
And then, as luck would have it, I spotted in Free Cycles somebody giving away Gower limestone. So this come from an old wall. So, but the thing is, on Free Cycle, the picture's about this big. I thought, that might be enough to do one wall. So off we go.
Yeah, to have a look. And when we get there, it turns out, as we discovered, that there are 35 tonnes of rock there.
Give or take.
Give or take. Do we take what we need?
Oh, no.
No. Dusty has to have it all, because now he has visions of what we're going to do with this 35 tonnes of rock. But also, you can't get machinery in, you can't drive up to the rock. No. It had to be taken out by hand.
In a wheelbarrow.
In a wheelbarrow, tiny bit at a time. But Dusty was absolutely determined to have every single piece of rock. And where did we put it?
Outside the new house.
Which we don't own yet.
The thing is, I haven't got a trailer either, so it all had to go in the back of my truck. And we did around 35 journeys. 35
journeys. And it's now been there so long that it's got ferns growing out of it. It's become part of the fixtures. Bless the people selling us their house. But that wasn't all that happened. My son got this foraging idea. He couldn't talk about anything but mushrooms. You could be talking about mushrooms, you could go out for 3 hours, come back, and he was literally like, oh, by the way, there's some more mushrooms down the road. Then one day, about 20 Amazon parcels arrive in one day for Adam, and I put them in the study there for him. When I come back, and I was only out probably about 3 hours later, it was like a scene from Breaking Bad. I mean, my goodness, things everywhere, all kinds of equipment everywhere. I take a deep breath, go to make myself a cup of tea, I opened the fridge, and because there was no surfaces to put anything, he had piled all the stuff on top of the fridge, and a bottle of propyl alcohol, whatever it was, fell on my head.
It was like, I don't know, something from an Ealing comedy film.
It was.
God.
So you talk about the cost of weight mode. There were so many costs to weight mode.
And also, my timber's been stacked up on that really dry, sunny yard, and it started to warp and it started to crack. So I'm having to go over there pretty much every other day and rearrange it so I can bring the damp stuff at the bottom to the top. And oh man,
there has been a cost. That, you know, a lot of the stuff's been done. It could have waited, but we're there, and we can actually start for real.
I just can't wait.
Yeah, no. So there we are. That is weight mode. And if I could give one piece of advice to those with ADHD who struggle with weight mode, it would be to learn to recognise it and use that knowledge to help those around us to understand it too. The opportunity for this understanding and self-knowledge and learning is exactly what we want to create at Fairwood Escape, our ADHD retreat. And on that note, next time we're going to announce some exciting news about a very special guest who's coming across from America to help us launch our dream. We are so lucky to have one of the top award-winning ADHD coaches and my personal mentor to help us get things rolling. So if you want to share any of your experiences of ADHD, please drop them in the comments and tune in next time for the big reveal.